How's everybody doing? There we go.
Hi,
Hi, Shabbat Shalom.
Dr. De Las Casas, I think, is his name at Women's Institute.
Okay, I will. Phyllis Casas. I will look him up.
I am pretty sure that's his name.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, good.
Hello, everybody.
Hi,
Hello.
guys. How are you?
I'm doing very well.
Everybody have a nice Thanksgiving, such that it was this year.
In quotes, yeah.
Jonas, you're on
Mute.
How are you?
Oh, thank you.
Okay, folks. Yeah, if everyone wants to mute, thank you for the reminder, Kent. Everyone wants to mute, except I guess the rabbi and Jonas. And let me get this stream set up here.
Have you discovered any mathematical innovations?
Not yet.
Recently.
Brain has not been. Are you asking Jonas? You're asking me.
Jonas, yeah.
Why asking me? Jonas.
Any mathematical breakthroughs?
Not recently. I finished my degree in the spring, so I've been doing job applications instead.
I see.
Okay.
That's probably harder than math, probably.
Yes.
Just waiting a moment for the stream to get going, folks.
Math is probably easy.
Okay, and you're live, so go ahead, folks.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Boker Tov. We are recovering from Thanksgiving. I hope everybody's doing okay and is on you're on your exercise program to calibrate our Thanksgiving meals. Feeling good, feeling thankful, and so that's probably the tone of our service today. Hey, is gratitude and thanks. We'll focus on the Modim Anachnu Lach, and let's keep an eye out for all the Mizmor LeTodah, right, and all the thanks that we'll find in our davening this morning. Page 65. Jonas will lead us through Birkot HaShachar.
Shasani ben Korin, Baruch Adonai Melech Haolam, B'Piaf Yivreim, Baruch Adonai Melech Haolam, Malbi Sharmim, Baruch Adonai Melech Haolam, Matir Asurim, Baruch Adonai Melech Haolam, Zukit Kufim, Baruch Adonai Melech Haolam, Loka Haaretz Alamayim, Baruch Adonai Melech Haolam, Shasal Kutzarkihi, Baruch Adonai Melech Haolam, Himet Arikaver, Baruch Adonai Melech Haolam, Uzer Yisrael B'Gvuraha, Baruch Adonai Melech Haolam, Uzer Yisrael B'Tifaraha, Baruch Adonai Melech Haolam, T'nayef Koach, Baruch Adonai Melech Haolam, Hamavir Shenamei Nam Yafafahai, Yerubim Chachad Nam. Uhunim Chol Yom L'Kam L'Chased Rachamim V'Nachal V'nei Korainu V'Tigma Leinu Chasadim Tovim Baruch Adonai Gomel Chasadim Tovim L'Amo Yisrael Yipirot Nachal Yom Yehe Adam Yerashlam Tzedakot Hashem Topokenu Mena'im Korlenu Ma'afayu Shatenu Hashem Shnachnu Mashkimim Marivim Erev Boker Omrim Pamayim Chol Yom Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Ahadash Achincham Krishesh Mecha, Vikadesh Achincham Mecha, Vishukat Hemtia Karninu, Bavrokadaran Nahai, Mekadesh Achincha Barabihim. We continue on page 72 with the Psalm for Shabbat. Ayom Yom Shabbat Kodesh, Shabbat Vim Umnuvit Hamikdash, Mizmor Shir Him Shabbat.
Tov lehodot ladonai. It is good to praise God, and that's our first setting of our Shoresh Todah, or Thanksgiving. Tov lehodot ladonai. It's good to give thanks to Adonai. Let's take a brief moment and thank God for all our blessings.
Dikma Yisrach, the Eres, Vananiskesh, Limivet Arnha, Bafatser, Hino Yafrifu, Odinivun Seva, Dishinim Vernim Yuhu, the Kirkia Sharana, it's Rivlov Latapaho. We continue on page 81 with Psalm 30.
Yeah, we don't do Mizmor LaTodah today, Jonas, right? Because it's we only do Mizmor LaTodah on weekdays. Is that right? The
Correct.
Todah was a weekday korban, and so it's interesting. Right? Tov lehodot takes its place. That same Shoresh, page 81.
Mizmor Shir, Kontanabait, Ladavi. Fashion the film of Holy, Chakhi dies in Simcha, reminds him of a covered leader, but now a high Lamodeka.
Scottish.
Page 82.
Yikadal v'ikadash Shemerabah.
Bi'amad yivrachi rutei, v'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yamechon v'chaye b'chol Beit Yisrael.
Bagalah
V'agalav
v'zman
v'zman
kari
kari
v'ru.
v'ru.
Amen.
Eishmei Rabban Barach le'nam olei amaya.
Yiparach
Yiparach
v'yishtabach
v'yishtabach
v'tramam
v'par v'tramam
v'naseh.
v'naseh. V'yetadar
V'tadar
v'yetalel
v'talal
v'talal
shemer
shemer
kedusha.
kedusha
Recho.
Shechu.
Me'ela
Leila
min
min
kol
berchata
berchata
v'shirata.
v'shirata.
Tushbachata
Tushbachata v'nechemata
v'nechemata damiran
namiran
yama
v'yama
v'imru.
v'imru.
Amen.
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 Yehei shlama
Shalom
rabba
Rabba
b'shmaya
Maya V'chaim
v'chaim
aleinu
aleinu
v'al
v'al
Kol
Israel
Yisrael. Amen.
v'imru. Amen.
Amen.
Aseh
Aseh
shalom
shalom
b'rama
b'rama
v'yaseh
v'yaseh
shalom
shalom
aleinu v'al Kol
aleinu v'al
Yisrael
kol
v'imru.
Yisrael
Amen.
v'imru. Amen.
Amen.
We continue with Baruch Shamar on page 83. Baruch Shamar Be'al Baruch Hu, Baruch Oseh Breshit, Baruch Omer V'Yoseh, Baruch Ozem Kayim, Baruch Merachem Al Haaretz, Baruch Merachem Al Briyot, Baruch Mishalem Sachar Tov L'Re'ah, Baruch Hala Ad Kayam Nenetzach, Baruch Kodem Atzil, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Adonai Eloheinu. Ya'afifu Olamim Ha'Tishbach Ariyad Shmo Gadoho Baruch Adonai Ma'avnula B'Tishbach. We continue with Ashrei on page 96. Ashrei Shevitecha Od Yalucha Sehelha. Tehi Latner Berpi Brech Vasar Shinkocholam Ba'ed Nachmref Yamahadulam Haluk. We continue with Psalm 150 on page 100. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelujah, Beki Hahuzo. Hallelujah, Big Burota. Hallelujah, Kebro of Football. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, Beteka Shofar. Hallelujah, Beneva Befino. Hallelujah, Betor Fumakoho. Hallelujah, Bemini Behuka. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, Betzel Tele Shama. Hallelujah, Betzel Tele Truha. Kon Shama, Tala Yaha. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Kohan Shama, Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Kohan Shama, Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. We continue on page 102 with Shirat Hayam with Song of the Sea. As Yashir Moshe Rubei Yisrael Et Hashira Hazot Ladonai Vayomru Lemor Hashir Ladonai Kigao Ga'am Sus Verocho Rama Hayam Osi Vizimrat Yah Vayehi Vishuha Zevi ve'an ve'hu Elohe aviv armamenu Adonai yishnucha Adonai shemo Arkevot paro V'chelo yaravayam Umifkar shalisha Tibu'ur ve'yam suf Tehomot yachazimu Yardum tzolot mo'aven. Adonai Yimlo, Leolam Vahe, Adonai Yimlo, Leolam Vahe. Even Hamukam Shabuyim, Bagum Shmahartim, Spirit Hare Sahav, by Tavanahim Nukaha, Vayanam Kopol Haaretz, Yimhu Yernai Echad, Ushmo Echad. Continue at the top of page 104. Nishmat Kochait, Perfection Fadanai, Elohenu, Elohenu. Nehagapa, Shakafa, Ba'echa, Unvarkafet Shem, Kutshaka, Kamor David, Vachinashi et Adonai, Befok Rabbi, Jem Kutsho. Adel Bratzmut Izacha, Agato Bifo, Jemacha, Agibon Zakban Rabin Marotecha, Hameler Hayoshev, Sevram Ben Yisaha.
Yasher koach, Jonas, beautifully done. We continue now with our Shacharit service. We're on page 105. We begin with the poem Shochen Ad. Shochen Ad, God, sacred and exalted, inhabits eternity. We enter.
Shochen Ad Marom Kadosh Shemo
Shochen Ad Marom.
Kuranu Tzadikim Badonai Lai Sharim Navat Tehillah Befi Sharim Tithalal Tithalal Udivrei Tzadikim Titbarach Titbarach Shochen Ad Marom V'kadosh Shemo Shochen Ad Marom V'kadosh Shemo Uvilshon Chasidim Titroman Titroman Uvekerev Kedoshim Titkadash Titkadash Shochen Ad Marom V'kadosh Shemo Shochen Ad Marom V'kadosh Shemo U'makalot Rivavot Amcha Yisrael שכן חובת כל יצורים לפניך אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו להודות להלל לשבח לפאר לרומם להדר לברך לעלי ולקלס על כל דברי שירות ותשבחות דוד בן ישי עבדך משיחך. Rise if you can, page 106. Yishtabach Shimcha La'ad Malkeinu.
On Malkeinu.
Brachot v'hoda'ot me'ata b'yad olam Baruch ata Adonai El melech gadol batishpachot El ha'hoda'ot Adonai nifla'ot Abocher b'shirei zimra Melech El Chei ha'olamim
Amen.
Al v'yikadash merabah
Amen.
Amad Ibrahim Rutev Yamlich Malchutev Chayechon v'yomechon Chayedecho Beit Yisrael Bagala b'zman Karim Imru Amen. יתברך וישתבח, יתפאר בתרומם ויתנשא, יתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי קדושה.
ברכו.
לעילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, אמירן בעלמא, אמרו.
אמן.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam ba'ed.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם יוצר אור ובורא חושך עושה שלום ובורא את הכל הכל יודוך.
Thank you, God, for creating the world anew every day, and especially today. The act of creation is renewed each and every day.
אין כרך אדוני אלוהינו בעולם הזה ואין זולתך מלכנו לחיי העולם הבא. אפס בלתך גואלנו למות המשיח ואין דלומה אליך מושיענו בתחיית המתים, page 108. אלאדון על כל המעשים ברוך ומבורך בכל נשמה גודלו וטובו מלא עולם דעת ותבונה סובבים אותו המתקהל חיות הקודש ונדר בכבוד על המרכבה זכות ומישור לבני כיסו חסד ורחמים לבני כבודו טובים אורות שברא אלוהינו יצרם בדעת בבינה ובשכל כוח וגבורה נתן בהם להיות מושלים בקרב תבל מלאים זיו ומפיקים נוגה נאה זיוון בכל העולם שמחים בצאתם וששים בבואם עושים באימה רצון קונם פאר וכבוד נותנים לשמו צהלה ובינה לזכר מלכותו קרא לשמש ויזרח אור ראה והקים צורת הלבנה שבח נותנים לו כל צבא מרום תפארת וגדולה צרפים ואופנים וחיות הקודש. page 109. לילה ששמע מכל המעשים. page 110. תתברך צורנו מלכנו וגואלנו בורא קדושים. ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו. וכולם פותחים את פיהם בקדושה וטהרה בשירה וזמרה מברכים ומשבחים מפארים ומעריצים ומקדישים ומחניכים את שם האל המלך הגדול והגיבור והנורא קדוש הוא. להקדיש ליוצרם בנחת רוח בשפה ברורה ונימה קדושה כולם כאחד עונים ואומרים ביראה קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלוא כל הארץ כבודו. והאופנים וחיות הקודש ברעש גדול מתנשאים לעומת שרפים לעומתם משבחים ואומרים ברוך אדוני ממקומו לברוך נמות איתנו למלך חי וקיים. אור חדש על ציון תאיר ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו מהרה לאורו ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאורות. page 111. אהבה רבה אהבתנו.
Thank you, God, for your gift of love, our precious Torah.
וארננו בתורתך ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך ויחקר לבבנו לאהבה וליראה את שמך ולא ולא נבוש לעולם ועד, כי בשם קודשך הגדול והנורא בטחנו, נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך, והביאנו לשלום מארבע כנפות הארץ, ותוליכנו קוממיות לארצנו, כי אל פועל ישועות אתה, ובנו בחרת מכל עם ולשון, וקרבתנו לשמך הגדול, סלע באמת להודות לך ולייחדך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בהם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשופך ובקומך, ושרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם המזורות ביתך ובשעריך. היה עם שמוע. ויאמר אדוני משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם, ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף בטיל תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית, וראיתם אותו וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, הייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת, אמת ויציב ונכון וקיים וישר למענו. לדור ודור הוא קיים ושמו קיים, וכיסאו נכון ומלכותו ואמונתו לעד קיימת, דבריו חיים וקיימים נאמנים. אמת שאתה אדוני אלוהינו אלוהי מאלוהי אבותינו, מלכנו מלך אבותינו, גואלנו גואל אבותינו, יוצרנו צור ישועתנו, פודנו מצילנו מעולם שמך, אין אלוהים Zulatecha. We continue on page 114. At the end of the page, we will continue directly into the silent Amidah on page 115b. Ezrat Avotenu Atahu Me'olam.
Thank you, God, for your gift of redemption. Thank you for taking us out of Egypt. Take us toward more holiness and more peace and more unity.
Ram v'nisai gadol v'nora, mashpil geim u'magbiah shefalim, motzi asirim ufode anavim, ve'ozer nalim, ve'onele amo v'tshav'am elav. Tehilot le'elyon, Baruch u'mborach, Moshe u'Miriam u'Yisrael, Lechanu shira, Besimcha rabba, Ve'amru kulam, Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot, osef eleh, shira chadasha, shivchu geulim, l'shimcha al sefat hayam, יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד איי 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 Sur Israel, Kuma be'ezrat Yisrael, Uftechilu mecha Yehuda be'Yisrael, Go'aleinu Adonai Tzvaot Shemo, Kedosh Yisrael, Baruch Atah Adonai, Ka'al Yisrael. All those who have not yet finished their davening may continue. We return back to page 115b for the repetition of the Amidah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomer Chasadim Tovim v'Konei Hakol V'Zocher Chasdei Avot ומביא גואל בני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ופוקד ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ופוקד שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיה מקימת הרב להושיע משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיה מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים וברופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו, נשנה עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך מלך ממיד ומחיה ומצמיח ישוע למען אתה לחיות ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים
מקדש
את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה, ואמר קדוש, קדוש, קדוש,
אדוני צבאות, הארץ כבודו.
אז בכל רעש גדול אדיר וחזק משמיעים קול אז בכל רעש גדול אדיר וחזק משמיעים קול מתנשאים לעומת שרפים מתנשאים לעומת שרפים לעומתה ברוך יאמרו
ברוך אדוני ממקומו
ממקומך מלכנו תופיע ותמלוך עלינו כי מחכים אנחנו לך מתי תמלוך בציון בקרוב ימינו לעולם ועד תשכון תתגדל ותתקדש בתוך ירושלים עירך לדור ודור לדור ודור ולנצח נצחים בעינינו תראנה מלכותך כדבר האמור בשירי עוזך על ידי דוד משיח צדקך המלוך אדוני לעולם ומלך ציון לדור ודור
הללויה
לדור ודור נגיד גודלך ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש ושפרך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד יהיה מלך גדול וקדוש, אתה ברוך, אתה אדוני, אל הקדוש. We continue with the repetition. You may be seated, page 117. ישמח משה במתנתך, כי עבד נאמן קראת לו. אליל תפארת ראשו נתת, ועומדו לפניך על הר סיני, ושני לוחות אבנים הוריד בידו. וכתוב בהם שמירת שבת, וכן כתוב בתורתך, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובני ישראל אותי לעולם, כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. ולא נתתו עלינו לגויי הארצות, ולא הנחלתו מלכנו לעובדי פסילים, וגם ממנוחתו לא השתנו ערלים, כי ישראל עמך נתתו באהבה, לזרע יעקב אשר בם בחרת. מקדשי שבי, כולם ישבו ויתעלו מטובך, בשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו, חמדת ימים אותו קראת, זכר למעשה בראשית, אלוהינו ולאבותינו רצה במנוחתנו, קדשנו במצוותיך, ותן חלקנו בתורתך, שא בנו מטובך, ושמחנו בישועתך, וטהר ליבנו לעובדך באמת, והאכילנו אדוני אלוהינו באהבה ורצון, שבת קודשך ינוחו בישראל, מקדשי שמך, ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. רצה אדוני מעמך ישראל ותפילתם, והשבת עבודה לביר ביתך, ותפילתם רבה תקבל ברצון, ותהי לרצון תמיד עבודת ישראל עמך, ותחזינה עינינו בשובך לציון, ברחמים ברוך אתה אדוני, המחזיר שכינתו לציון, מודים אנחנו לך. הטוב כי לא חלו רחמך, ואמרכם כי לא תמו חסדיך, מעולם קיווינו לך, ועל כולם יתברך ויתרומם שמך מכנו תמיד לעולם ועד. בכל החיים יודוך סלע, ויעללו את שמך באמת, האל ישותנו בעזרתנו סלע ברוך אתה אדוני. הטוב שמך ולך נאה להודות, אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, ברכנו בברכה משולשת בתורה הכתובה על ידי משה עבדך, אמורה מפי אהרון ובניו, כהנים עם עם קדושך, כאמור. יברכך אדוני וישמרך.
כן יהי רצון.
יאר אדוני פניו אליך ויחונך.
כן יהי רצון.
יישא אדוני פניו אליך. ישם לך שלום.
כן יהי רצון.
שים שלום טובה וברכה. חן וחסד ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל. עמך, עמך, ברכנו, ברכנו אבינו כולנו כאחד. ברכנו, ברכנו אבינו באור פניך. שים שלום טובה וברכה. חן וחסד ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל. עמך, עמך, כי באור פניך נתת לנו, אדוני אלוהינו, תורת חיים ואהבת חסד, ואהבת חסד וצדקה וברכה ורחמים וחיים ושלום. שים שלום טובה וברכה. חן וחסד ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל. עמך, עמך, וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שים שלום טובה וברכה. חן וחסד ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל. עמך, עמך, ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל. Shalom. Page 138. Kaddish Shalem. יגאל יגאל שמי רבה. אמן. ועמד בקירותיה, ועמליק מלכותיה, וחיי כל ימי נכון, וחיי לכל בית ישראל, וגלה בזמן קריב, ויאמרו
אמן. יהי שמרה
במלך. העולם עולם מעיה, יתברך. ברח וישתבח ויפאר ותומם ויתנשא, גדל ביתה לביטלה, על שם מאיר לקודשה.
ברכו.
לעילה מקובלך בשירתה, תושבחתה בלחמתה, דם אירן ועלמה ויאמרו
אמן.
התקבלת אותו לבלתון לכל ישראל, קודם הבונדי דשמיא ויאמרו
אמן.
ויש למה רבה מן שמיא, וחיים אלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו
אמן.
עושה שלום במרומיו, ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן.
Yesher koach, Yesher koach. And so I know the Shochenad is Joey Weisenberg. The Micha Mocha, what was that one?
B'nai Jeshurun.
Oh, beautiful. And I mean, I recognize the Sim Shalom from here, but who's the composer?
Finkelstein.
Ah, really? How interesting.
A little eclectic, we did it.
Yeah, and the choir did it. The choir did it?
No, these are all things that I've done by myself. No, none of these were actually choir pieces.
Did Propus sing the Finkelstein?
No.
Or you found it?
I learned it at my niece's bat mitzvah at Beit Yeshurun where they sang it. And so I got it and I started singing it.
Gotcha. All right. Has anybody heard Propus sing that one? Have you heard Propus sing it?
He may have done it, but
Yeah,
I
Levine has heard it.
He's recorded it.
Oh, is that right? Interesting.
Okay, there you go.
Beautiful. Yasher Koach.
Thank
We
you.
continue with Torah service. Ken Levine, page 139.
En kamocha Elohim Adonai v'en kemasecha malchutecha malchut lekol olamim umemshaltecha b'chol dor v'dor Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai yimloch le'olam vaed Adonai oz yamo yitein Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom av harachamim eitiv ad yirtzoncha et Zion Tivnech amod Yerushalayim Tivnech amod Yerushalayim Ki v'chal levad batachnu melech Eram v'nisadon olamim. Page 140, top paragraph. Be'anarachit v'lishmei kadisha kadisha yakira Anamartu shtichane be'anarachit Belishmei kadisha kadisha yakira Anamartu shtichane Yeherava kodamach Titach libi bioraita Titashi mishal in the libi Beliba dichol amach Yisrael Litavu lechayin v'lishlam Amen.
Yasher Koach. We begin our Torah reading in our Eitz Chaim on page 176. So we're in the middle of Parshat Vayetze. And my father referred to this past week when we were doing the Zoom at noon, or last week, that there are certain parts of the Torah that we sort of don't really focus on too much. And that's the way we shape our hashkafa and the things that we focus on. And so this morning we are reading some of the often overlooked parts of Bereshit. We all know the stories of Bereshit, like mother's milk, but you'll be surprised there are a few that pop up that we don't really focus on. And so here we go. Yeah, we've got one of them coming up now. And then a Bris Shalom Shabbat morning update. We've been doing a little bit of reflecting and thinking over the past couple weeks. One of the things that shifted, as you know, is that there's kind of an end in sight, right? We were sort of feeling like there is some sort of end in sight, which is different than past couple weeks. And so that's shifted some things, and we want to think about, between the period between now and when we get back, we miss our Torahs is where I'm trying to get at, right? We miss our Torah, we miss our Torah energy, we miss the scroll. And so Rabbi Druin, one of our Torah Sofer folks who are not currently using to fix our Torahs. Gave a call the other day and reminded us that we really need to be taking care of our Torahs. So we're going to be looking at ways of connecting with our Torahs on Shabbat morning. Maybe someone will go into the sanctuary by themselves and figure things out. But for now, we are using our first instinct of our pandemic crisis strategy, which is to use our Chumash. And so page 176, I'll give our introduction, and then we'll say our bracha, La'asok b'divrei Torah. V'yazor, v'yagen v'yoshel, chachas nebo v'nomar amen. Hakol, havugod lehenu tekol Torah. Ya'amdu kulanu baruch shentat olam Yisrael b'kedushato. Ve'atem madbekim le'elohechem chayim kolchem hayom. Okay, let's say our bracha, and then we'll begin our Torah reading. Baruch
Baruch
atah
atah
Adonai
Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asot b'divrei Torah.
Amen.
Friends, we begin our first Aliyah, verse 30, page 14, Monica Hoffman.
Vayelech Reuven b'mei katzir chitim, vayimtza dudaim basadeh, vayadei otam elei imo, vatomer Rachel elei tenina li midudai benech, vatomer la hamat kachtech et ishi v'lakachat gam et dudae beni, vatomer Rachel lachen yashke v'imach halayla tachat dudae benech, vayavo Yaakov min hasadeh ba'erev v'teitze Leah likrato, v'tomer elai tavo ki shachor shecharticha b'dudae beni, v'yishka v'ima b'layla hu.
Yasher Kochech, our second Aliyah, Rona Lesser.
Vayisma Elohim Elea Vatahar Vateled LeYaakov Ben Hamishi Vatomer Leah Natan Elohim Sefkari Asher Natati Sifkati Lishi Vatikra Shemo Yisashkar Vatachar Hod Leah Vateled Ben Shishi LeYaakov Vatomer Leah Ziva Dani Elohim Oti Zevet Tov Hapam Yizba Leini Ishi Ki Yolad Tilo Shisha Vanim Vatikra et Shemo Zevulun Ve'achar Yalda Bat Vatikra et Shema Dina.
Yasher Kochech, what's behind you there, Rona? Is that what painting is that?
It's a painting. That's a pastel that you're right there. I just stuck something up to make it look a little neater, but it's I think it's a Galveston Beach.
Beautiful. Yasher Kochech. Our third Aliyah, Alan Goldstein.
Vayizkor Elohim et Rachel וישמע אליה אלוהים, ויפתח את רחמה, וטהר ותלת בן, ותאמר אסף אלוהים את חרפתי, ותקרא את שמו יוסף לאמור, יוסף אדוני לי בן אחר, ויהי כאשר ילדה רחל את יוסף, ויאמר יעקב אל לבן שלחני ואלך אל מקומי וארצי, תנה את נשי ואת ילדי אשר עבדתי אותך בהן ואליך, כי אתה ידעת את עבודתי אשר עבודתיך. ויאמר אליו לבן, אם נא מצאתי חן בעיניך נחשתי, ויברכני אדוני בגללך.
Yasher koach, yasher koach. Jonas, our fourth aliyah.
Vayamar nakva asfarcha alai betena, vayomer lahav ata yadata et asher averticha, ve'et asher yamiknecha iti, ki me'at asher yadlacha lefanai, vayifrot larov, vayivarech Adonai otcha l'ragli, v'ata Matai esegam anochi leveti, vayomer ma'eten lach, vayomer Yaakov l'titen lihi mumaha, im ta'aseh lihi hadavar hazeh, hashuva tzoncha eshmor, e'evor b'chol tzoncha hayom, aser misham, kol zeh nakod v'talu, v'chol sefum v'ksavim, ותלוף נקוד ועזים ויצפרי, וענתה בי צדקתי ביום מחר, כי תבוא על ספרי לפניך, כל אשר איננו נקוד ותלוף ועזים וחום בכזבים, כנופו איתי. ויאמר לבן, הן לו יהי כדברך, ויסר ביום ההוא את התיישבים, הכבודים והתלויים ואת כל העזים הנקודות והתלויות, כל אשר לבן בו, כל חום בכספים, ויתן ביד בניו, וישם דרך 3 ימים בינו ובין יעקב, ויעקב רואה את צאן לבן הנותרות.
Yasher koach, yasher koach. Eliezer, I didn't know Lu Yehi was a biblical phrase. Did you know that? Is it found more often than this time? Eliezer, yeah.
Very rare.
But the song is based on the phrase, yes?
No Mishem knew Tanakh very well.
That seems to be the case. Nancy, Gail, Bakasha, our fifth aliyah, chapter 30, verse 37.
Vayikach lo Yaakov, makal yivneh lach v'luz v'ermon, vayifatzel bahen pitzalo levanot, makshof halavan asher al hamaklot, vayatzeg et hamaklot asher pitzel barahatim, v'shikatot hamayim, asher tavona hatzon lishtot, lenocha hatzon v'yechamna b'bon lishtot, v'yachemu hatzon el hamaklot, v'teladna hatzon akudim nekudim,
Utiluim Behaksavim. He freed Yaakov. Vayiten Penei Hatzon Elakod B'Chochum B'Tzon Lavan. Vayashet Lo Adarim Levado Velo Shatam Al Tzon Lavan. Vaya B'Choyachem Hatzon Hamikusharot. Sam Yaakov et Hamaklot Le'nei Hatzon B'Rahatim Liachmeina B'Maklot Ufatif Hatzon Lo Yasim V'haya Tufim L'Lavan V'hak Shurim LaYaakov Vayifrot Haish Me'od Me'od Vayhilot Tzon Rabot Ushfachot V'ha'avadim Ugemalim V'chamorim.
Yasher kochel, thank you. And so we see here Jacob using some advanced level genetics or animal husbandry. Anybody have any insights? So Andy or Jonas, how did Jacob do what he did?
You just got to know a lot about your sheep.
All right, so he had some insight into, he was an excellent shepherd. He knew mating habits of the sheep. All right, and so through his observation of being in the field, he had an upper hand, right? He had knowledge that Lavan didn't have, and so they made a deal. And of course, because Jacob had some secret knowledge that Lavan didn't have, he came out ahead. Did I say that right, Jonas?
Sure.
And
it
what
helps
was
some gods in your corner.
You don't think it? So my premise here is that Jacob had some inside husbandry Texas A&M knowledge. Do you agree?
I think that's definitely plausible and or likely. It's also Jacob's hallmark with an attention to detail. And I think this section speaks to that. He's
Beautiful.
always very cautious, studious, and it shows. He understands how his animals work.
Very good. Thank you. All right, sixth Aliyah, Nancy, 31:1.
I'll read that, but before I do, the note at the bottom of the page on 179 says the folklore suggested that people believe that sheep seeing strike rods would bear strike young. So
there you go. That's also a possibility. Yes.
Something else. Vayishma et divrei v'nefam lemor lakach Yaakov et kol asher le'avinu v'asher le'avinu asa et kol hakavod hazeh vayar Yaakov et penei Lavan והנה איננו עמו כי תמול שלשום ויאמר אדוני אל יעקב שוב אל ארץ אבותיך ומולדתך ואהיה עמך וישלח יעקב ויקרא לרחל וללאה השדה אל צאנו ויאמר להן רואה אנוכי את פני אביכן כי איננו אבי כי תמול שלשום ואלוהי אבי היה עמדי ואתן ידעתן כי בכל כוחי עבדתי את אביכן ואביכן היטל בי והחליף את משכורתי 10 מונים ולא נתנו אלוהים להברא עמדי Im kol yomar nikudim yeh sechavrecha v'yaldu chol hatzon nikudim ve'im kol yomar akudim yeh sechavrecha v'yaldu kol hatzon akudim v'yatzal Elohim et mikne avichem v'yiten li.
Yasher kochech, and we continue with our seventh aliyah, page 181.
Vayhi be'et yachem hatzon va'esa ha'enai be'erev b'chalom v'hinei ha'atudim ha'olim al hatzon akudim nekudim brudim Vayomer Elohai malach Elohim V'chalom Yaakov Va'omar hineni Vayomer sana enecha ure'eh Kol ha'atudim ha'olim al hatzon Akudim nekudim v'rudim Ki ra'iti et Kol asher lavan oselach Anochi ha'el beit el Asher mashachta sham matzefa Asher nadarta li sham neder Ata kumtze min ha'aretz hazot Veshuv el eretz maladetecha Vata an Rachel v'Leah vatomar nalo ha'od lanu chelek v'nachalaha b'veit avinu halo nochriyot nechshavanu laho ki necharanu vayochal gam achol et kaspeinu Ki kol ha'osher asher hitzihil Elohim me'avinu lanu hu levanenu ve'ata kol asher amar Elohim elecha aseh.
Yasher kochech, thank you. Mishaberach, Houghton Abraham, Tzach Yaakov, Sarav Kach Avaliyah, Huyivarech, et kol ha'kruim, et kol ha'balei kriya, et kol asher alu, l'chod hayom, v'l'chvod hamakom l'chod ha'torah, v'l'chvod ha'shabbat, v'l'chvod ha'kahal. HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yishmor Otam V'Kol Mishpachotam Yishlach Bracha V'Tzlacha B'Chol Ma'aseh Yadeihem Im Kol Yisrael Acheihem V'Nomar Amen. Mishaberach for the Cholim, for all who are ill. If you have someone in your network, in your family, friends who is ill, we'll say that name out loud. We'll also pray for the earth and for all its inhabitants. Mishaberach Avtin Abraham Yitzchak Yaakov Sarai V'Kal Chavleya Hu Yivarech V'Yirapeh Et Kol HaCholim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimeleh Rachu Yimelhem Lachzikam V'Rabotam Shalchem Merafor Shlemem Min HaShamayim Refuat HaNefesh Refuat HaGuf B'Doshach L'Amo Yisrael Shabbatim Milzok Refuat Krolavo Hashtab Bagalav Zman Kariv V'Nomar Amen. Mishebeirach Avotenu Mikor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishebeirach imotenu Mikor habracha Lavotenu, bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra kirute v'mlech malchute, b'chayechon v'mochon v'chay l'chol beit Yisrael, v'agalav b'zman kariv v'imru Amen.
Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah
Shmei
mevarach
Rabbah
le'alam
mevarach,
u'le'alam.
Olam l'mei Maya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitbar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal, Shmei Dekudesha,
Ve'echu.
Lamin kol birchata v'shirata tishbachata v'nechamata damiran be'alma v'meru. Amen. Our reading, Marcia Hurwitz will be leading us. The bracha before, followed by the text of the Haftarah, page 189.
So, Rabbi, it's page 195.
Oh, thank you so much. Why is that? What's going on?
That's what, to be honest, that's what I was told to read the Sephardic version.
That's perfect. So thank you. We've got our Ashkenaz, choice on page 190 something, 180, and then we've our Sephardic choice on page 194. We've chosen the Sephardic choice on our grid, and thank you for doing the Sephardic choice. One of the reasons why is because we like to. There's two choices. We'll talk about this during the Vartorah a little bit. You can choose from option A. You can choose from option B. Option B is a little bit shorter, so we decided to go that route. That's all. It's just a little shorter, and it's good to mix it up. Sometimes we've gotten used to the Ashkenazi, and now we'll try the Sephardi. Thanks, Marcia.
Sure.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'neiim tovim v'ratzah b'divreihem הנאמרים במת. Baruch atah Adonai הבוער התורה ומשה עבדו ולישראל עמוכו ונביאי האמת והצדק. ועמית אלוהים שבתי ואל יקראו יחד לא ירומם אתנך אפרים אבגנך ישראל אתנך חדמך השמחה כצפויים נפח עלה ליבי יחד נגמרו ניחומי לא אעשה חרון אבי לא אשוב לשחט אפרים כי אנוכי ולא איש בקרבך הקדוש ולא אבוא בעיר אחרי אדוני יחוד ויגר ישק כי הוא ישק ויחרדו בנים מיחם יחרדו כציפור ממצרים וכיונה מארץ אשור והושבתיהם עבדיכם למד אבנכי סבבוני וכחש אפרים ומרמה בית ישראל ויודע עוד רחמים ועם קדושים למחן אפרים רודף קדים כל היום כזהב בשון ירבה ופריד עם אשור יכרותו ושמן למצרים יובכה וריב לאדוני עם יחודה ולבכות על יעקב ירחך כמעלליו ישיב לו בבטן את אחיו, ובעונו שרה את אלוהים, ויסר את מלאך ויוכחד באחיו, ויתחנן לו בית אל, ימצאנו ושם ידבר עמנו, ואדוני אלוהי הצבאות, אדוני זכרו, ואתה באלוהיך תשוב, חסד ומשפחת שמו, וקווה אל אלוהיך תמיד כנען, בידו מאזני מרמה לשוק ההר, ויאמר אפרים שרתי מציתי עוני, כה יגיע לא ימצאו לי עוון אשר חטא ואנוכי אדוני אלוהיך מארץ מצרים ראשך באוהלים כי ממועד ודיברתי אני ואנוכי חסון הרביתי וביחד ערבים אדמי עם גלעד אבן עכשיו היו בגלעד שברים זבחו גחם מזבחותם כגלים עד אדמי שדי. ברוך את אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם צור כל עולמים צדיק כל הדורות האל למען האומר יוסף המדבר ומקיים שכל דבריך וצדק נאמר אתה אדוני אלוהינו ונאמנים דבריך ודבריך מברך אחור שברך כי המלך נאמן ורחמן אתה ברוך את אדוני האל הנאמן בכל דבריך רחם הציון כי היא בית חיינו ולעלובת נפש תושיע מנחה רב ימינו ברוך אתה אדוני נשמח ציון בבניך שמחנו אדוני אלוהינו ויביאך לנביא עבדך ובמלכות בית דוד משיחך במהרה יבוא ויגל ליבנו על כיסאו לא ישב שר ולא ינחל אור אחרים את כבודו כי בשם קודשך נשבעת לו שלא יפן נרו לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני מגן דוד על התורה ועל העבודה ועל הנביאים ועל יום השבת הזה שנתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו לקדושה ולמלאכה לכבוד ולתפארת על הכל אדוני אלוהינו אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך יתברך שמך בפי כל חי תמיד לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Amen. Yasher kochech. Beautifully done.
Thank you.
Friends, we continue by closing out the Torah service with Eitz Chaim. Ken Levine, if you're up for davening Musaf, you can continue right along after that.
Sure. Eitz Chaim hi lama kazikim b'vitomche ha'meushar d'racheha darkenoam b'chol netivoteha shalom hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva chadesh yameinu tikedem Yitkadav Yitkadash me Rabbah Diama divra kirute viamlich malchute bechayechono v'yomechono chayedecha ben Yisrael bagala obitmalkavi v'yimero amen. Yehishmera b'mivarach li'alam olam amaya yitbarach yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipar yitrom mitnase v'yitadar yitalev yitallal shemeri kodeshah b'richo Niela min kobir chata v'shirata tushkata v'nechemata damiram yama v'yimeru amen. Page 156b, the Amidah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avoteinu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Adorai El Elyon Komel Chassadim Tovim V'Konei HaKol V'Zocher Chasdei Avor U'Mevi Goel Livnei V'neihem L'man Shemo B'Yahava Melech Ozer U'Foket U'Moshia U'Magen Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Avraham U'Foket Sarah Ata gibor li'olam Adonai mechayim etim ata rav lehoshia mashiva ruach u'morida gashem mechakel chayim bechesed mechayim etim berachamim rabim somek notnim berofei cholim Umatir asurim umekayem emunato lishenei afar michamocha ba'al givurot umido melech melech memi umechayeh U'matzmiach Yeshua v'ne'emadta l'chayot metim baruch atah Adonai mechayeh hametim.
Amen.
Nariteka v'nakishecha kesoti yaksarfei kodesh amakdishim shimecha b'kodesh כך כתוב על יד נביאך ויקרא זה אל זה ויאמר קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות מלך כל הארץ כבודו. כבודו מלא מלא עולמיים מקום כבודו, כבודו מלא מלא עולמיים מקום כבודו, כבודו מלא עולם, משרתיו שואלים זה לזה, איה מקום כבודו, משרתיו שואלים זה לזה, איה מקום כבודו, לעומתם ברוך יאמרו, ברוך Baruch Kivod Adonai Mimikomo.
Shema Omrim.
Mimkomo Oyifen Birachamim Veyachonam Amam Yachadim Shemo Erev Avoker Bechol Yom Tamid Hamayim B'Yava Shema Omerim Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Hu Eloheinu Avinu Hu Malkeinu Moshienu Vehu Yashmienu Birachamav Shenit Le'enei Kolchai Liot Lachem Le'Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem U'divrei kodechecha katuv lemor Yimloch Adonai le'olam Elohai Tzion Ledor vador Hallelujah Ledor vador nagigot lecha Ulenetzach netzachim Kedushatcha nakdish V'shivchacha Eloheinu mipinu lo yamush le'olam bo'er Ki el melech gadol v'kadosh ata baruch ata Adonai ha'el hakadosh. We invite you to complete your Amidah privately. We conclude with a prayer for peace. Ose shalom imromav, oyase shalom aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Yase shalom, shalom aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, 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 v'imru amen. Structurally, every service concludes with Kaddish Shalem, page 181. Yitkara v'yikara shemei rabba, me'miyom adivra kirute v'yamlich malchute b'chayichon v'yimechon b'chay l'chol beit Yisrael, b'agala v'zman karev v'yimmeru amen. Yesh shmei rabba mivarach, v'yalam le'omaya, yitbarach. Yitbarak, v'yishtabak, v'yitpar, v'yitroma, v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar, v'yitale, v'yidalash, merkudisha, v'yela minko, birchata, v'shirata, tuvgata, v'nekmata, damiran, v'yama, v'yimmeru. Amen. Yitkabat zilor, honu ba'ad hon decho Yisrael, kodam, avu hon devishmaya, v'yimmeru. Amen. Yeshma marabamin shemai v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael yimeru. Amen. Ose shalom b'imromav, uyase shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael yimeru. Amen.
Koach, Yasher Koach. Yes, so the Musaf service concludes with the Kaddish Shalem and Devar Torah, and then we'll head into our concluding services. Yasher Koach. Before I give my Devar Torah, I have a little Devar Torah. So the little Devar Torah there was just what we heard spontaneously through the Torah reading. The issue that we're contending with, right, in our parsha, and really in the story is Jacob really a deceiver, or is it just a little complicated, right? So we heard a couple opinions. I sometimes I have a tendency to go there and say that he was really a deceiver, and he had to learn this lesson of tshuva, and had to work out his issues at the end with the wrestling scene with that man on that dark night, working out his issues. So he really was a deceiver. Jonas, a deceiver? Not so. Is it a circumstance?
If you take the larger view of his track record, it's more than one incident where he has this issue.
That's true. This one in particular isn't a full-blown case of deception, but together with all the arc of the narrative, we can put together that, yeah, he had some issues with deception. Thank you, Jonas. And did I say that right? All right. So that's Dvar Torah number 1. So Dvar Torah number 2, because that's connected to the Parsha. The second Dvar Torah isn't connected with the Parsha at all. It's connected with a conversation I'm having with a friend of mine, with an Orthodox friend of mine. And so it's kind of like letters from a conservative rabbi to an Orthodox rabbi. He actually has smicha. He doesn't work as a rabbi, but he's a very knowledgeable guy. He took smicha in Israel. He took the exam, the Israel Rabbanut exam on his own, and he studied Basar B'chalav. He studied the dietary laws of meat and milk, and he earned himself smicha, the title of rabbi in Israel. And we've been having this argument for 30 years, literally 30 years now. We met in high school. And I'm a conservative Jew, and he's an Orthodox Jew. So that doesn't seem to be a problem. However, we care about each other deeply. I love the guy. I think he loves me. You know, he's a good friend. And but we disagree fundamentally about this issue, and you know, over the years it flames and then it goes down and then it flames and it goes down. But we were always arguing about something, about kashrut or Shabbat or davening, Zoom davening. And I tell him all about the Zoom davening. He's like, usser, you know. So it's hard to connect sometimes. Anyway, one of the issues that we've been dealing with, which is important to me, is kind of the way that orthodoxy resembles fundamentalism. I'm of the opinion that in some ways orthodox thought resembles a fundamentalist perspective. So anyway, he doesn't like that, obviously. so we're in debate. And so here's where we've arrived and where I could use your help, because we have lawyers on the line and experts in logic and math and Talmidei Chachamim. So let's try this. So here's where we arrived. So the Talmudic project, so we step back a minute, we're going to learn a new concept called a nafkamina. I only have 5 minutes left here, so let's do this. But you got to focus. So what's a nafkamina? A nafkamina is a Talmudic principle, and a nafkamina is a case, a hypothetical case that exemplifies the difference between two opinions. You find a case and you say, oh, Rabbi Shimon says asur and Rabbi whoever says mutar, right? And that clarifies the argument because you get to see where they really disagree. Right? And so the nafkamina clarifies the essence of an argument. So for example, if one wants to argue, Jonas, you with me? If one wants to argue that all Democrats are the same, all those politicians, the three of them that were running for office, oh, those Democrats are all the same. So how would you prove, what's a nafkamina? How would you prove that they're actually different? Is there one issue that you can point to that shows that there actually is a difference between the three Democratic candidates? So what's an example of a nafkamina, Jonas, from last election? What's a nafkamina to differentiate between the three Democratic top runners or whatever?
Sure. Green New Deal.
Thank you. So break it down for me. Who would say what?
I'm not going to name
doesn't
names,
matter
not
yet.
going to politics too much. Some Democrats support it, some Democrats support modified versions of it, and some are ambivalent.
Thank you. So if you bring that case, you can definitively show that there actually are differences between the Democratic candidates. So far, so good. So you've won your case. Yeah, there's a nafkamina, right? And so there's a Talmudic project out there. What's the Talmud, right? The project of the Talmud is to sort of synthesize this messy oral tradition that we've received. Right? And so we need to figure out, who says what, delineate all the different strands of thought that we have. And at the core of the Talmudic project is bar plukta, is that there are people that disagree with each other. There are issues, there are conversations. There aren't clear lines in Judaism. There are conversations, groups of conversations. All right? Which is more important, to have kavanah or to say the words, right? Different rabbis will say it, and it's an essential argument that gets passed down over the years. So that's my argument. And Moshe's argument is no, the heart of Judaism is following the law from Sinai. And I say, no, the heart of Judaism, understanding that there's tension at the root of all these ideas, multiplicity and diversity. And he says, no, right? The Torah is the Torah. It's either kosher or treif. I say, no, some people will call a salad kosher and some people will call a salad treif. And that's what we've come down to, right? So now here's the nafkamina that I've caught him with, to tell him that there are actually multiple opinions that are valid in Judaism. And he would disagree, right? He would say, no, that it's either kosher or treif. Right? The community, Chazal, says kosher or treif. And I say, no, Chazal is a multiplicity of opinion. You see where this is going? You can see where he would disagree with that. He's an Orthodox Jew. There's no multiplicity of opinion if a salad's kosher. It's kosher or treif. If it's got crab in it, it's kosher. Whatever, right? Oh yeah, I'm sorry, the opposite. It's got crab in it, it's treif. Right. So anyway, I say no. One rabbi can say kosher, and that's a perfectly valid point. Another rabbi can say treif, and he has a perfectly valid point, right? I'm a rabbi who says kosher. I think it's kosher, right? So here's the case, right? And you say treif, and we're both valid. So here, but right, it's hard to get to that point. But here's where I pinpointed it, and with this, I'll ask for some reflections. Here's the case. The mother, so a son comes home. It's a common case that he has counseled people in, and I counsel people in, right? A child goes to Israel for the year, comes back flipped out, right? And he's keeping kosher and keeping everything. Well, the wieners, I hear, yes. The boy comes back from Israel, and he's flipped out, keeping kosher, and right. So Moshe and I both agree. Oh, that's his name. My friend and I both agree that the first thing you should do is talk it out. Right? You sit down at the kitchen table. You say, "I keep kosher now, and would you mind buying the salad that has the OU on it?" Right? But the question is, what happens if it doesn't work? Right? If the mother keeps pushing and pushing, right? Because mothers care about their food sometimes, and So here's the case. The mother starts crying, and the salad's on the table, and it's not an OU salad. The bugs were not checked. The lettuce wasn't checked for bugs. Here's the case. The lettuce was not checked, and the mother is crying. What do? What is the yeshiva boy supposed to do? Right? The mother's in tears, and the lettuce hasn't been checked, so there might be bugs in the lettuce. And if you eat a bug, you're committing 5 biblical prohibitions, right? It says the rabbis or something like that, right? So the mother's crying, the mother's in tears. I don't know how it got there, right? So Andy says it's poor parenting, right? That's what Moshe says, right? Why didn't they have a conversation about it? It's hypothetical. They didn't. Okay, that's what hypothetical means. They didn't have a conversation. Right? The mother's crying, or they did, and it didn't work out. Some conversations don't end well. Have you had any experience that? Right? It's hypothetical. The hypothetical case is the mother is crying. Do you eat the salad or not? I say eat that salad, even if you haven't checked for the bugs. We don't know if there's a bug in it. There might be a bug in it. Even if there is a bug, it might be microscopic. I say eat the salad, right? And so Moshe, and I say to my friend, I say, what do you say? And he won't answer the question. It's not a fair question. You set up a straw man. You do this. No, it's hypothetical. That's why it's fair, because it's hypothetical. But he can't bring himself to say, eat the salad, and he can't do it because it's treif, because it's a safek midaraita. Right? There may be a bug in it, and if you eat that bug, then you've committed a grave crime, even worse than making your mother cry, right? According to the Orthodox perspective. Andy, how am I doing?
I think the Devar Torah is fine. I think the whole Orthodox premise is phony. So it's beneath contempt.
Andy, does this case exemplify a multiplicity of opinion?
Yes, but some opinions are illegitimate, and some authors of some opinions are illegitimate.
Would you consider it illegitimate to refuse to eat the salad?
I couldn't quite hear you. Let me up my volume.
Would you consider it illegitimate to refuse to eat the salad?
Completely. If you're going to go home,
I wouldn't. I would. I don't know what I would do, but I think it's a legitimate opinion.
You have particular sympathies, but if you are going to go and sit at your mother's table and expect to be fed, you'd better damn well eat what she puts in front of you.
Thank you, Andy. That's clear. I appreciate that. Anybody else? Yes, Suzanne. Unmute. Suzanne, unmute.
I believe the tension
that actually happens. What happens if the bug lands on the salad, you didn't see it, and then disappears?
Right. So if it's by accident, then that's something else. But this is, you're eating it on purpose. You're eating a it may have bug on it, and you're eating it. Right. So
that's a case where you have to veer on whichever side you want to go because you really don't know. But I've seen that happen.
Yeah.
You know, the bug lands and then it disappears.
Right, yeah. So thank you. Right. So this is not a bugs are there. There's a good chance of bugs in the salad. There's a pretty good chance, right, Andy? There's a good chance there's a bug in the salad.
Rabbi,
Yes, Leslie, please.
but on the other hand, one of the 10 commandments, you must honor your parents.
We
By
haven't talked
not
about that yet.
eating the salad, the mother is not intentionally making a salad and throwing bugs in it, but she doesn't observe that level of kashrut. But the son should eat the salad to honor the mother.
All right, but do you understand why I want to give someone the right to refuse?
Yes, but if they had sat down and had the discussion of why it could not be why it might not be kosher, then the mother could then be prepared to inspect and wash the lettuce before she puts it in the salad. And
Right, but my hypothetical case is that she refused.
She refuses.
Because it's kind of crazy, to check the salad. She refuses.
You also have a law in basic concept that says, yes, you honor your parents unless they direct you to dishonor God.
There you go. All right. So, Ken Levine, do you think that this case exemplifies a multiplicity within Judaism?
No.
Well, I think it reflects a traditional machloket. Yes, there's an argument here to be made. I'm not sure where I would come down on it, but I think it
so you don't have an
traditional. No, I
Wait,
don't have an answer.
Your answer is
What's
not
that?
clear? Your answer is not clear.
Not clear to me.
Oh.
It's not, because the question comes down to the specific law versus an interpretation of a larger principle, and the larger principle is by definition simply an interpretation.
I didn't quite follow that, but the law we're talking about is
not to eat, the one law is not to eat the bugs.
Not to eat a suffix.
This law isn't about not eating the bugs. This law is about whether your lettuce requires rabbinic certification.
Correct.
And that's
correct. Ken Levine, does that change your mind at all? Or you
wash the salad?
No, because again, it comes again. I'm looking at it from a halakhic standpoint, not necessarily how I would respond, but it's a matter of there's a possibility of the bugs, and therefore, what is the role of hashgacha? Is to assure that there are no bugs, to do your best, in a sense, to create a situation in which there are no bugs there.
The role of hashgacha is to make money for the OU.
Hold on.
Any
Hold on.
mother can walk.
I'm not going there with you, Andy. I'm not going there.
It's fine. You don't have to. You don't have to.
Rabbi Martin speaking. I don't think this is a halachic question in the sense of kashrut at all. I think that this is a question of lack of communication between the newly frum son and his not quite so frum mother about expectations. It has nothing to do with kashrut. When our kids come visit us, since they are more observant than we are, we make certain accommodations which we know that they want. Mm-hmm. It's got nothing to do with kashrut or my interpretation of verse 33. If I want them to eat in my house, I do certain things.
Yeah, but some people aren't as
reasonable. Have the conversation ahead of time.
Yeah, but some people aren't as accommodating as you. So in my hypothetical, it's a non-accommodating parent, right?
If the mother's going to be davka, I don't care what the kids.
It's not davka. It's not davka. It's not davka. I mean, to ask a mom to wash her lettuce before you. I mean, it's a little crazy.
I don't think that. I think if that were my kid, I'd wash the lettuce so they could eat with me.
That's Scott, thank you, Martin. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
That's why people have a relationship with our children from kids.
Let's let Fred go. Yeah, Fred.
I think this example is an example of what has kept the Jewish religion alive. This is tension. This is tension between us, between Jews. And we tried to discuss, as you laid out, the principle of what is important on an individual. But it is that very tension. If you change one or two little examples. For example, instead of lettuce, it's meat. Right. And he asked the mother, where did you buy this? Okay, so where does it come from, lettuce to meat? If you and I talk about meat, immediately we have the answer. The son should not eat that meat. the son should not eat that meat at all.
Correct.
So you took a very simple example of lettuce. But I believe the thing that we are doing here is what Jews have done from millenniums, and it is keeping the religion alive. And that is the open discussion. It's keeping your friendship alive, which is beautiful. In other words, you disagree, but you still keep a friendship alive. I keep my friendship alive, for example, with, my father, my dead father, or my dead mother. In other words, there was always tension because I did not always satisfy the religiosity of my father, okay, or my grandfather, or my mother. So, but the idea was we discussed. And there was love and discussion. And there was, let's say, between me and you, Rabbi, there was respect and discussion. I seriously believe that these examples have kept us alive and will keep us alive as long as my children don't walk out the door and shut the door, okay? And we can't discuss.
Right. So give us a bracha, and then we'll add a few more hands.
Like
but give us a
that.
bracha. Yeah, give us a bracha, and then we'll continue.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Fred. Give us a bracha.
What kind of bracha?
A bracha, to keep the Jewish tradition alive and whatnot. All that beautiful stuff you said.
My bracha is, it is against what I'm seeing. My bracha is that we work extremely hard to keep the discussion going between ourselves and our loved ones, because we all have a stake in keeping our religion alive. The mere fact that we are sitting here Zooming and davening shows that all of us here have a stake in keeping our religion alive. So my bracha is, dear God, keep us together, keep us discussing, keep us open-minded, and keep the love flowing so we can discuss. And by discussing, keeping our religion.
Amen.
Amen.
Ein Keloheinu 182, Ken Levine.
In Keloheinu, in Gadolenu, in Kimachenu, in Kemoshienu, Micheloheinu, Michadonenu, Michemachenu, Michemoshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel Imakenu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Makenu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkenu, Atahu Moshienu, Atahu Shekiru Avotenu, Lefanecha Ketoret Hasamim. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'atei gedula liotzer brishit, shelo asanu ki goyei aratzot, v'lo samanu k'mizberon ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'kol hamonam. Vanachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamachim hakadosh baruch hu shehu noteh shamayim v'yosei haaretz umoshav ikaro b'shamayim mima'al Shchinatu zo begove meromim hu Eloheinu einod emet makenu ebezulato kakatu betorato yadata yom bashivota elibavecha ki Adonai hua Elohim Bashamayim v'alaretz mitachat enod. Kakatu b'torah techadonayim loch le'olam moed v'nemar v'haya Adonai l'melech ha'kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo
We're about to say the Mourner's Kaddish, and so our condolences go out to all the families who are in Shloshim. Shirley Katzen, Doris Gruskin, Cecily Sherbel, and Marcia Burney. We commemorate the following Yortzites: Karen Andrews, Betty Ann Ashkenazi, Norman Belasco, Lewis Kaplan, Murray Cohen, Gertrude Cohen, Robert D. DeWitt, Charlotte Eagle, Marcel Elias, Edith Estes, Anita Flussberg, Sidney Freed, Catherine Geigerman, Rose Gimbel, Maury Goldberg, Greg Goldstein, Joseph Henry Heffler, Joseph High Cadville, Rebecca High Cadville, Dorothy Kellum, Mark Lang, Karen Goldsmith Levy, Kurt Lothman, Ida Marks, Sarah Kolovich Mendelovich, Maurice Newberger, Clara Portnoy, Leah Resnick, Jerry Ribnick, Blanche Rubine, Maurice Schaffman, Melba Simmons Goodman, Jerome Skoll, Leah Ray Stepanoff, and Bert Winters. Mourners Kaddish, mourners can unmute.
I do.
Amen.
Yama divrach yotei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yamechon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael v'agala v'zman karev v'imru
Amen. Yeheshme
Yeshme
Rabban.
Rabban V'rach Le'olam Amei Amaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipar v'yitomam v'yinaseh Yitadar v'yitamed v'yitalal Shemei D'Kudisha v'rechu Le'ema min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata damiran v'yama v'imru Amen. Yehi Shmama Ra Min Shmaya Chaim Amenu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom V'Rama Hu Yaseh Shalom Amenu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'imru
Amen.
Amen. May the one who makes peace above, peace and comfort to us below. And together we say Amen.
Amen. Amen.
We have a birthday boy in the house, Fred Florsheimer, celebrated his birthday yesterday. How old are you, Fred? Anybody have a guess?
29.
Yeah, good.
29, 50? Unmute for a second. What's the number?
He gave us a date. He gave it to us last night.
Too old to know how to unmute.
That's over.
Unmuted.
Ah, there's Shkoyach. What?
I'm back.
How old are you?
Say it again.
How old are you?
I am 89 years old yesterday.
Shkoyach. That's beautiful.
I thank God.
Thank God. Misha Berach,
It's
Chavatenu,
good.
Ravan Sak Yaakov, Sarah.
I hope he's listening.
Rivka Rachel Leah, Leah Varech, and Fred Florsheimer. What's your Hebrew name, Fred?
Meir Ben Cecil.
Meir Ben Cecil. HaKadosh
Yes.
Baruch Hu Yivarech Oto with parnasa and bracha and lots of love from your grandkids and great grandkids and our community. And together we say Amen.
Amen.
Happy birthday.
Yashikor. Thank you.
Other celebrations? Do we have anybody else celebrating something today? All right, Rhoda, how are you?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm grateful to be here with everybody and hope everyone had a lovely Thanksgiving, as different as it was for all of us. Anyhow, Toda Rabbah, Rabbi Teller, Cantor Levine, and everyone who participated in services, and particularly, as always, a special thanks to our Gazumbai, Danny Roisman, for keeping us organized and online.
Donnie.
So thank you.
Donnie.
Donnie. Havdalah is tonight at 6:15 with Rabbi Teller and Nava, and Facebook Live, and then our day tomorrow through the week, our daily morning service at 9 a.m. on Zoom, and our evening service on Facebook Live at 6:15. This week on Zoom at noon, we'll continue with the series offered by Yad Vashem, and there'll be a program on Tereschenstadt on Tuesday. Cantor Levine's anti-Semitism class will continue on Thursday at Zoom at noon. And next Sunday, Shelley Nadell will offer a program in conjunction with CBS Women on thriving financially in a crisis. So lots going on. There's lots more to come in the weeks that you can read about in the Boker Tov. I wish everyone Shabbat Shalom again, a Shavua Tov, and of course, with my prayer that we will soon be able to pray together in person.
Amen. And happy birthday to Peter Baskin and Joan Lang and Michelle Pochet, who are out there. So we're davening with our group on Zoom, and also we're on YouTube. So Shabbat Shalom to everybody there. Kenna Levine, Adon Olam.
Adon Olam, Hashem Malach, B'terem Kol Yetzir Nivra, Liyek Nasa, V'chefzo Kol, Azai Melet Shimoni Adon Olam, V'yacharei Kiklot HaChol, Nevado Yimok Adon Olam, V'hu Ve'oya be'tifar Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Hashem Malach, B'terem Kol Yetzir Nivra, Liyek Nasa, V'chefzo Kol, Azai Melet Shimoni Adon Olam, Ve'hu Echad V'yein Sheni, L'hamshilo Li'akbir Adon Olam, V'li Reshit, V'li Tachlit, V'lo Ze'amitra Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Hashem Malach, B'terem Kol Yetzir Nivra, Liyek Nasa, V'chefzo Kol, Azai Melet Shimoni Adon Olam, V'hu Eli, V'chai Go'ali, V'tzorchev li B'yetzar Adon Olam, V'hu Nisi U'manosi, Menat Kosi V'yomek Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Hashem Malach, B'terem Kol Yetzir Nivra, Liyek Nasa, V'chefzo Kol, Azai Melet Shimoni Adon Olam, V'yado Akidroki, Liyek Tishan V'ya'ira Adon Olam, V'yimrochi Gaviati, Adonai v'lo yira, Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Hashem Malach, B'terem Kol Yetzir Nivra, Liyek Nasa, V'chefzo Kol, Azai Melet Shimoni Adon Olam.
Kiddush.
Here we go. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. על כן ברך אדוני את יום השבת ויקדשהו סברי. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן. Continue with a priestly blessing. Here we go. Yivarechek Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichoneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasim lecha shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. So just one last word, and then David Duchin has something to say, if you don't mind. We'll start off with schmoozing that way. If you'd like to go, thank you all for being here. We'll continue the discussion a little bit. David would like to share something. If you don't mind, David, you'll unmute for a second. But I want to make one quick point first, which is my debate interest is in the hypothetical case, right? So the practical doesn't really apply in the hypothetical case that I'm forcing to discuss. But as Martin noted, really, it's in the end, it's a practical case, right? That it's in Martin's opinion,
even means.
Right. It's a practical case, but I'm forcing the hypothetical, which means it's inappropriate in the discussion to say, well, why did it even have to get to that point, right? That's not part of the discussion, right? But in the hypothetical. But it is in the practical. So it's important to talk about the practical also, which Martin raises. But also David has a practical approach.
So from a practical standpoint, I just think that everybody's entitled to their own opinion about what they want to believe in. And it shouldn't be on any one of us to force our belief on somebody else. And if they're doing something that you don't believe in, you just don't have to participate. So that's the one point I want to make. The other one is also from a practical standpoint. My late uncle was an Orthodox cantor in South Africa. And of course, he and his wife kept kosher as they would, being an Orthodox, being of Orthodoxy. But they would visit our home, and to be fair, we did not keep kosher in the same way that they did.
Right.
But when they visited us, we made, as Martin pointed out, we made accommodations, but they never once questioned anything that we provided for them. And I found that so enlightening from an Orthodox cantor, where he was very, very practical in his interpretation of the Jewish law, even though he was Orthodox. And
Right,
he
it's a
didn't
very-
go Reform in South Africa, we didn't have conservative. It was either Orthodox or Reform. But he always kept an open mind and an open interpretation of the laws as they needed to be adapted for the day and time.
Open.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for raising up, all right, some sensitive Orthodox folks. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you
And
for the
Leslie,
opportunity.
Leslie,
I would
you've had
like
a lot
to
of
add.
experience. You've had a lot of experience in this, Leslie.
Yes, and our youngest son married a wonderful girl, and both of them were on their own paths to becoming Orthodox. And when we were building our current home, we sat down, and Evan said, "Mom and Dad, what is it that you're willing to do to provide for something more Orthodox? Because we have a very kosher home, but maybe not as glot kosher for them." And so when they come to visit, I said, one of the things we wouldn't do when we bought a new stove, we would not get the Shabbos mode that you could keep it on. And the reason for that, I was worried about fire.
Right.
I don't want to leave it on the whole weekend kind of thing.
Right.
But we also made sure that we were buying products that had, though we buy kosher products with the hechsher, they gave us a list of hechshers, you know, that we could combine. If it's not OU, there are others, depending on the rabbi.
It's an example of good communication.
I loved what Evan had said. He said, Mom and Dad, the most important thing is shalom bayit. There must be peace in the home. And we love our children and we respect them. Growing up where my dad insisted everyone had to be an individual thinker and think for yourself. So there are values that Sandy and I have, and we hope all our children will accept it, but we also don't want carbon copies. We want individual thinkers who will make choices and hopefully look at the choices that we did to see if that applies to them.
Very nice.
Let me add, your hypothetical, Rabbi, actually, that was very close to what happened to me. I went to Camp Ramah the summer before my bar mitzvah ceremony, which was in September, so it was kind of fresh. And I came back, and while we had a kosher home, and that wasn't an issue, my maternal grandparents did not buy kosher meat. There's a historical reason I won't go into. So the dilemma is when we were invited to their home, and would I eat in their home? And the answer was, I would eat in their home because I didn't want them to feel hurt by it. And that was more important to me than whether I followed the particular rule. But that was also because we were very close to my grandparents. So we didn't have a discussion. It was just, this is the way it is, and I'm not going to hurt my grandmother.
Amen. That's my opinion too. Yeah, we share an opinion.
Rabbi Martin Kagan here. So
hold on, but it's meat. I didn't say that publicly. I didn't say it publicly.
I was just talking to me. That's it.
What?
That's right. I was just talking to you. Don't tell anybody.
What was?
Rabbi, I just wanted to mention something that I heard Rabbi Gelman say, and I forget exactly where it was that we were at UOS or on their website or someplace, where he basically said, we at UOS are building a Shabbos community. We want people to invite each other to each other's homes so that we can have Shabbat lunch together after services.
Right.
And he said there are members of our community who enunciate such stringencies that they don't trust other people to meet their kosher standards. He said, this will destroy our community.
Right. Beautiful. Andy, any thoughts? I see you're pondering.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to, and I continue to try and
Will you please let me mute it before you unmute
the real world and practical examples. You were talking specifically about the son who comes back from a program in Israel and has been turned on to a standard of kashrut that includes buying hechshered lettuce. And that's what his mother hadn't been in the habit of doing and had some degree of unwillingness to do. That's the nafkamina. And dealing with just that, the onus, having a discussion about it is fine. And if the mother chooses to go and buy hechshered lettuce, that's her choice. And the son can choose not to eat at his mother's table if he requires hechshered lettuce and it doesn't, and she's unwilling to do that.
That's a choice you can make.
So that's the nafkamina. The adopting certain conveniences and certain stringencies and certain accommodations are if you want to choose to make things easier for your guest. But for your son, never, no way, no how. And that's not about my son, that's about the nafkamina. That guy came back from his year in Israel and learned nothing about what's important in Judaism if he comes and he makes his mother cry, to go buy lettuce with a hechsher. And then we could get into a whole nother discussion about whether lettuce needs a hechsher. But, in terms of the nafkamina that you presented, the kid's behavior was intolerable. And that was my first remark. This is an example of poor parenting. If the parents sent him to Israel to enhance his Jewish education, and he comes back and behaves like a Cossack. Does
he have a right?
It's about behavior.
Does he have a right to refuse?
He has a right to refuse to eat at his mother's table. Absolutely. However, that would be the behavior of a Cossack. That would be the behavior of somebody who essentially knows nothing about Jewish behavior. That's all.
But don't forget, there's also compromise. If I can't find a hechshered lettuce to make, I will buy fresh lettuce, wash it, examine it. And for our family Shabbos dinner on our island, we have a buffet. And we always have, quote, a salad bar with bowls of different things. So that if you'd like a salad, but you don't want to do the lettuce, you can have a bowl of other vegetables or fruit.
It's not an issue of washed. It's an issue of hechsher. I'm sure none of us ever made a salad, except maybe out at Boy Scout camp, where we didn't wash the lettuce.
Right. It's pre-washed, or we wash it. We
wash our produce. The issue is hechshered. And that is a level of practice that is fundamentalist and extreme.
One little issue, I like Twining English breakfast tea, and the hechsher that it has is from the London Board of Rabbis. So my son did not have that in his list of permitted hechshers. So we went, when we were in Baltimore, I go and buy a hechshered box of tea. Now, I don't understand.
And the reason for that is because his rabbi wasn't paid off to put Twinings on his list.
But either way, they're very accommodating parents. We respect that.
Rabbi, the other issue, though, might be education, which comes with the communication. The parents might be wanting to accommodate, but not realize that the lettuce has to be special.
All right,
I mean, I just remember when my mother tried to cash our kitchen and my grandmother mixed everything up, whether it was a lack of respect or just no clue what she was doing, can happen. And that's why communication has to be there.
Thank you. I want to echo Fred's bracha, and thank you all for engaging. And to be continued, I'll let you know how it goes with Moshe. I appreciate your support. And I'll keep fighting the good fight.
Sounds like Sounds like a good Zoom at noon, actually.
It could be. Actually, it could. Yeah, you're right. That would be very interesting. But it's a little emotional because we're trying to work through our friendship here. So
It will
I'll let you
end up with the
after we
blessing
settle down.
"La'asok b'divrei mishagas."
This is Nori. I just wanna. It's just a little funny joke that this entire discussion reminds me of. My husband says, you know, if you're jokingly, if you are more observant than me and more strict in your observance than me, you're an insane fanatic. If you do less than me, you may as well do nothing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We all think we're right, right?
And we should be right. We have a right to have our opinions. And
Yes,
the
but
key
we have to communicate. We have to connect, and I think Fred's prayer is beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. Happy birthday, Fred.
Happy birthday, Fred.
Shabbat shalom, y'all.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Good Shabbos. Good Shabbos.
For those interested, American Jewish Congress, America's Table is on tonight on KPRC TV at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, it's American
Yes.
Jewish Committee.
Yes. Wonderful
Very,
program.
very good program.
Good Shabbos, everybody.
Shabbos.
Shabbos. Happy birthday, Fred.
Happy birthday, Fred.
Yom Haledet Sameach.
Happy birthday, Fred.
Happy birthday, everybody.
Many, many more.
Shabbat shalom. Haven't been sleeping
89
well,
more.
So